na mtu mwenye hujui at any given time anaweza erupt. Asha erupt akakupiga mpaka ukaenda kwa police station kwenda kuandikisha assault. How do you continue living with such a person? Like una feel safe juu sasa first of all alikupiga ukampeleka mbele, how are you sure that hata kuua hata because siku yenye alikupiga ulikimbia ukaenda kwa police station ukamstaki. Now how do you get to a point whereby you now feel safe to be this person? Alikuwa assault, ukajua kweli anaweza kuku assault, and then you even reported. So now he has, kama alikuwa na garage, sasa ako na garage mbili, na unaenda kwa kitanda moja mnalala tu and you sleep peacefully not fearing this person can even strangle you at night. Unajua, I think it's a kind of a systematic desensitization whereby unakuwa so used to violence that you now no longer see it as a big deal until juu hata violence yenyewe it normally escalates. Mtu anaanza na kukutusi, anaanza kukuchapa slap, inaenda mpaka anakuua. Unaona? Like what has happened to this lady, it just started pole tu because like on first wakigeuza mwaka she was on the police station, niliona hiyo abstract alikuwa amepigwa sana na huyo jamaa. So by the time it has gotten now to this July whereby he can order for her to be killed in a hospital, she had seen a lot, but nile unakuwa desensitized. I even saw someone, she was saying that she feels like she wants to even kill herself because of the way the marriage has become so toxic. But I'm like, because me, I'm thinking about myself, like nikianza tu kufeel niko insecure, like even if there is nobody, but I'm somewhere and I start feeling up and I think this place is not safe. I can't stay in such a kind of an environment. Sasa I'm imagining mtu mwenye amenipi, because if you look at that video, even that video of today, that mama, the way she's behaving, it's like amezoea kupigwa. Juu mimi unajua kwanza ungenirushia maziwa, I could have even run away because I'm like, guy, umenirushia maziwa. I'm like, I'm even scared. She was not even looking like she's scared. It's like amesoma tu hapo. The jamaa akamtupia maziwa, akampiga, akamtupia kikombe. The next thing akamove from where he was, akakuja akaanza kumpiga sasa. And she's just there, even she's not moving. It's like amezoea or something.
Yeah, she needs to take action kwa sababu the moment mtu ameshuka to that level, najua hiyo kukua victimized, you accept it. Unaweza anza na accept an abuse, the next time you accept a slap, the next time you accept ama akurushe kitu you accept, and before you know it, and the more you accept, your self-esteem goes down and you cannot even take charge of yourself. Me judge hivi, if my self-esteem is demeaned even by a word, I need to take action, because hivyo inashukanga hivyo chini hadi imefika point yenye anaweza kafanya just anything. They can just walk on you anyhow. But the moment, I think it should be told to every woman, the moment anyone instills a little bit of fear in your heart such that you cannot even stand up to say, oh, I cannot say anything because I'm afraid, hapo ndio pale abuse inaanza, and that is when you're supposed to take action. You don't need to I need kufika ile level yenye hadi amekuchapa hata tu kama ni word that instills fear, not only men, from a man to a woman, even from a woman to another woman, everyone, hata kama ni mwanaume tu mwanaume ama mwanamke akianza kumake mwanaume afeel yeye sio anything. So anyone that instills that sense of fear in you, you should start take action from that point, because hapo ndio pale abuse inaanza, na it will go down to a level of trauma. Getting out of trauma is very hard clinically, hata according to those research, they have concluded that people cannot get out of trauma. Na trauma inaanzanga from when you are a child. Hata hiyo tu kuchapa tu mtoto ako kafia kanaingia, anajua kwenda hii direction ni mbaya. So now that we are old enough and we can make our own decision, you should be aware of what is instilling fear in your heart to that point that you cannot make a decision for yourself. Hapo ndio pale mtu anafaa kuanza kutake action. And hata kujialienate is an action. Ama just separate yourself from that thing that brings fear, and and consider yourself more important, kwa sababu the main thing ni kukufanya ukuwe na low self esteem such that huwezi make any decision for yourself. Yeah, so that's my take. That's when you need hapo point tu yenye unaanza kusense fear, that's the point when you need to start taking action. It could be from a word ama tu mtu ameraise tu mkono kidogo ako kakafia kakakuja tu, hapo ndio unafaa kuanza kutake action.
Olwande.
Asante sana Vipita. Aki, mimi, hii topic, this is a very delicate topic, Pipita. Actually, this is the most delicate topic you can even have here. So, speaking of abuse in marriages, I think it is the worst thing that is happening right now. And it doesn't happen only to women, but also to men. It's only that men tend to be more abusive, physically abusive than women. But to be honest, when you're looking at an issue like this, we really have to think broadly. Some of us, our cultures, since we were born, we were taught that when a man beats you, that man loves you. You can imagine we have cultures like that. We have them. So, if you're that woman coming from that culture, if your husband has slapped you, unaona hiyo ni mapenzi. So mimi kusema kweli sitakangi kuongea about hizi matters sana as much as I would really like to, because this issue is very complicated and all of us are just not keen enough to have that conversation on board, to talk about the issue, kwa sababu kweli huyo mama labda alinote 1 2 3 but yeye pia alikuwa na fears. Some of you women who have been married before and maybe you've been divorced, that time that your marriage was in shambles, 8 out of friends you'll meet na umwambie hizo shida zako, alikuwa anaweza kwambia bora na provide, si ana provide. Hiyo ni number 1. Number 2, utapata family vile sasa the deceased alikuwa anasema ndio inamzuia kutoka hapo. If I remember in 2022, there was this gospel musician from Nigeria who was killed by her husband. Now, the moment people heard that, we were even having comments from women saying, hata kama amepigwa, ni afadhali alikufa kwa bwanake. You get that? So again, who is to be blamed? The society. How many people even on this social media, when you wake up na ufungue hata hii X, how many posts out of 20 are always demeaning or how do I call it, portraying women to be behaving in a certain way or to be in a certain way? How many posts will you meet out of 20 in 2 hours? So many. So I think this issue is complicated, and if at all we are handling it, it's delicate and it should be really treated with a lot of care. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Olwande, for that submission. We have about a quarter of an hour to 9 p.m. Thank you so much for being here with us. Leo ni hiyo siku ingine tena kuwakumbusha kwamba mwende tricklecamp.com /HRWP muone kazi tulifanya. There are more photos will be uploaded probably next week within the weekend, depending on how our videographer will be available. We also have a new video featuring Grace Olwande coming out on our YouTube, probably today or tomorrow. Yes, I'm yet to confirm, but it's already done. Ni kuiweka tu kwa mtandao, so that's also something to be on the lookout for. Yote 9-10 ni kwamba mimi sina mengi. I think I'll give the ladies a final word, a chance to say a final word. We've had a conversation, and this issue of abuse in marriage has cropped up because of that unfortunate issue that happened to Njoki. We have also seen even that principal who set up a husband. So it's not about the gender, it's about the violence. So yes, I want to maybe let Alkeblan tell us a few.
Ni principal
Kulikuwa
mgani
principal
alisifiwa hapo na husband?
alikuwa, I think it's in Nyeri. She was a principal some time back who set up a husband for murder. Na alimalizwa. It's actually people came, the killers were given a plea deal and they came out and confessed that they were sent by the wife to go and off the husband, who was also another principal. The story was that the husband had started moving with an M-Pesa lady, and she sent people to warn that wife. Huyo msichana akamwambia kwamba wewe huku kwenye unatembea is where people lose their lives, you know. Yeah, so anyway, the guy ended up losing his life.
Nasikianga huyo msichana aliambia huyo madam, aliitwa kwa police station, akaambia huyo madam, sasa mimi ukiniua unajua tuko wangapi? That's when the direct trajectory of the whole issue changed.
So alikuwa anamaanisha kobola ama
Alikuwa anamaanisha wako wengi in terms of mipango ya kando ni mingi, so hata akimuua hajasolve kitu yote. Sasa hiyo ndio ilimaliza huyu mzee. Because the lady, she was threatened by the, alikuwa ameitwa mpaka kwa police station. So mwanamke kusikia ati wako wengi, that's when kichwa iliruka kabisa.
hatari sana, hatari.
And by the way, it's the same issue ya property. If you go and look into it very well, ni hiyo issue ya mwanamke amepeana pesa, then the man is the one who has all the property under his name. That thing, wanaume mnapenda hiyo kitu, but it is what will finish you. Because mwanamke anaangalia, she has nothing. Everything she has is under your name. Then ameanza kuona ati unataka kuchukua bibi mwingine juu amezeeka. You think she will think twice about killing you? She won't.
Hizi partners, hata Rongai yule mrembo pia alimaliza. Unajua saa zingine tukileta hizi conversation inageuka agenda huo. But also the mrembo in Rongai was telling their husband that wapi pesa ya siku, and the guy had none, so ilibidi tu wakavurugana sana na he ended up dead, you know, stabbed. All right. Olwande, asanteni sana. What is your final words to us maybe tonight?
Yes, unanisikia Pipita?
Yes, nakupata.
Okay, thank you. Nimewasikia sana. It's unfortunate, lakini mi naweza tu sema I think that conversation, it's time we talk about it and it's time we find solutions for it. It's sad, it's alarming because it's happening day in, day out. But at the end of the day, let us look at it like each one of us have that responsibility to ensure that he or she is at peace. Thank you, Bibita.
Thank you. Alkelbulan.
Thanks, Pipita. Hata sikurealize topic imechange. Aya. So yeah, your story, abuse in marriage, we should always be aware that marriage is a legal binding of two adults. So just me, I will only champion everyone to be bold enough to make their own decisions themselves and be aware of our environment and our society, that we are living in a society driven by greed and not purpose. So take care of yourself and find courage to stand for yourself in case you need to, because sometimes no one will. Hata tumeona hapa marriage is very complex. Hata polisi wenyewe hawaingiangi sana. Hata chief inakuwa kesi ya chief. Hata chief mwenyewe kuna mali inafikanga anasema endeni huko mjisort nyi wenyewe, nini ni watu wakubwa, because it involves emotions and it's a legal thing at the same time. So the only solution is to empower the individuals who are going into marriage. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I think that is all. Mali sijui kama kuna kitu ya kusema, but mimi naona tumefika mwisho wa kipindi.
I think all what I can say is that unajua we also need to understand our parents. Ni society, unajua society. It's where the society is. So, but at the end of the day, the bottom line is maisha ni yako, na you are the one to make decision about what kind of a life you want to live. Mimi, the first boyfriend I had, alikuwa hiyo type. He was not beating me, but he was very possessive. And it was a very hard life. Very hard life. Anakufanyia kila kitu na nini, lakini you cannot even say hi to a man. He doesn't even want you to have female friends. A very hard life. Kukaa na mtu mwenye ni narcissistic, a narcissistic person, whether it's a woman or a man. It's like being in jail. Mpaka unashindwa sasa, hii ni relationship niliingia ama ni jela niliingia sasa. Stress all the time. Sijui unaongea na nani, sijui unafanya nini, sijui. You know, those controlling, those are all the signs of somebody who's going to become abusive in the future. So even by the siku yenye niliamua sasa I've had enough, I left the relationship. Alini threaten that ataniua. I had to go and see the police for him to be talked to. So mimi, because huko ndio nilianzia, I'm usually, my antenna is very high. Nikianza tu kuona anything about you're trying to control me, I'm out because I know where it leads. I know those kind of people, how their mind is. It's like they are not okay. You know, they are not. But by the time it gets to you as a human being, you can beat somebody who is weaker than you. Like, ni kama sasa mimi niko na mtu yako hapa anampiga ile nampiga vita kabisa. Like, this is someone who I'm 5 times stronger than them and I'm beating them like mercilessly nampiga. You know, that is not someone, hata yeye mwenyewe in his mind he's not okay. He is also not okay. So you know, our society is those ones of like, we have to vumilia, sijui nini hizo stories za kuvumilia and all that. But at the end of the day, maisha ni yako and you have to draw the line. Yeah. Mimi kuna pahali ilifika sasa nikaona mimi sitawezana na huyu mtu with all this possessiveness. Someone doesn't even want you to have even female friends. Sasa mtakuwa mnaishi aje? Mnaishi tu just the two of you. Isolation. Yani you don't have friends, you don't have anataka yani akuwe na wewe all the time, yani aku micromanage nini, you know, and you are an adult. You are an adult, you are doing your things. Kama this lady now, she was a very good businesswoman. She had already come up with her products there, zilikuwa zinauzwa kwa supermarket. She was an entrepreneur. She was helping a lot of women wenye wamepata watoto, they're having issues na breastfeeding. But you must never lose your individuality. It's not a matter of ati kwa sababu sasa nilikutana na huyu mtu akaniambia niache. The person found you when you are an adult. You had your own interest, you had your own things which you are doing. Sasa ukiambia, you know, there are some people who say, like, kuna forum mingine nilikuwa nikasema, why should somebody try to change you ati sijui anakumold? Sasa anakumold nini? Nini anakumold? Akikutana na wewe haku anajua that uko na this interest and the other interest and you want to do this and you want to do this. You have goals and aspirations and all this. They just want you to be a mirror image of them, like you are their clone or something. They don't want you to be yourself. And what kind of a life is that? If you are going to, and you know, by the way, the worst thing is that tuna move towards that, because I've seen a movement over here, like on X, whereby men are telling women atika nyumbani you nurture the children. I'm like, niliona nani ameweka, kuna mtu mwenye aliuliza swali, this lady who is LSK chairperson, ati which seat should she run for? Then nikaona wanaume wana reply that she should go home and nurture her children and her husband. I was like, eh? And there's a movement like that, by the way, and so many women, young women, are falling into that thing of, I'm gonna be a housewife, I'm gonna go home and nurture my kids. And bro, you went to school, your parents did for you everything. Who knows whether Mungu aliweka, because Mungu hana discrimination ya brain. That's why you can see this lady, as much as she was going through whatever she was going through, Mungu alimwekea some very good brain to be a very good entrepreneur and all that. But the moment you join with this manosphere narcissist, they will kill your dreams. They will kill your, because I'm sure this is, by the way, this man is one of manosphere. Kulingana na his moves, he's one of manosphere. Hizo ideology zake ni za manosphere. So they want to kill your dreams. They want to disable you, to disempower you. Ukue hauna anything, hauna pesa, hauna anything, so you cannot leave the relationship. You cannot be able to do your own things. If the relationship turns toxic, you can't. And some people do that thing and they die. Umeweka bibi yako kwa nyumba. I've seen a case like that. A lady who was my brother's neighbor, ameenda amechukua a lady who was not very well, she was not learned, ati ndio atakuwa submissive wife, akamweka hapo. Yeye ndio sasa sole provider, huyu anakaa kwa nyumba ati nurturing and see what the children. The day he died, his brothers first of all walikuja wakanyakua all his property. The children were left suffering. So this is not the world where you can tell somebody that now let me be the sole provider, let me be the one who is doing everything. You don't have, you stay in the house, don't do anything. Utashanga watoto wako watateseka. Me, I saw how those kids suffered. Because mama yao sasa, now after the husband has died is when she's now thinking of what can I do to at least be able to maintain my children. Amenyang'anywa kila kitu na because she's somehow not very learned, but bwana yeye alikuwa anaona he's doing himself a favor to get such a woman because atakuwa very submissive. But at the end of the day, what happened? So these things, why jua tu hii dunia ulikuja ukiwa peke yako, na I believe hata ukikufa na watu wengine kila mtu atawekwa kaburi yake, na mkienda before God on judgment day, mutaenda kama individual. You'll not go with your husband kuenda kusema that God, I refuse to live a toxic relationship. My kids were left suffering with stepmother, ama they were taken to my relatives because of my husband. Can you call him and ask him why he was beating me? There's nothing like that. Kila mtu atabeba mzigo wake mwenyewe. So when you are doing something, you know that whatever God has put in your hands, he will expect a report, and a good one. So if you are seeing someone is interfering with the good which God has put into your life, you are good business acumen. Because me, I always think that if I was a man and I have such a woman who is so enterprising, ako busy, anafikiria how we can make money, how we can be able to develop, how our kids can go to good school, I would be the happiest man. I would not be there stressing her ati kumpiga so that sasa akwe destabilized, hata zile ideas alikuwa nazo zipotee kwa kichwa. I would not be feeling threatened or start destabilizing this woman so that now she can be submissive. I don't know nonsense. I would be like, yeah, enda hizo trips kabisa. In fact, how can I help you? How can I help you to be more of an in? Because hata ukitoka hapo uende utaenda na watoto wangu, so my children are going to benefit from your business or whatever it is that you are doing. But anyway, what will be different? So there are people who don't see that as an asset, but me, I see it as an asset. I will really be empowering you and helping you to be better in every way. So ukiona situation yenye you are with anybody, including friends, wachana hata na bwana, friends and relatives, hao wazazi na sijui brothers and sisters, the moment someone is interfering with your potential, is interfering with your peace of mind, is interfering with your happiness, your jolliness, your unakuwa sasa you are on internet posting venye umepigwa na mpaka unaweka OB hapo, I think that's nonsense. Mtu akifika hiyo point, please just check out. I mean, you are not going to die and you are not going to be the first or the last. Just leave the relationship. Wacha kama parents wanampenda sana, waendelee na relationship na yeye. I've been in those situations whereby my parents love a man so much and me, I can no longer cope with him. So I just tell them, continue the relationship with him. Me nimejitoa. Since you love him so much, since her parents loved that man so much, juu anawapelekea gifts. Mimi nimedivorce huyu mwanaume. So since you love him so much, endeleeni na relationship na yeye, wewe na yeye, because that relationship is good. But me and him, we are no longer having a relationship, and that's the end of it. It's that simple. Thank you.
All right, it's so 9:01 p.m. Thank you so much for since you started. And of course, mine is to say that this week tumevunja rekodi kweli. Yes, yani for the first time in the history of Home Run with PP 2 years, hii wiki tumepata tip moja kwa the whole week. Asanteni sana kwa kutune in kwa kwa Home Run with PP. Will be back here again next week on Monday for yet another home run. Umaisikia kwamba mwezi iko kwa kona, alafu next week sasa ndo black spot. Yes, thank you so much for being here with Home Run PP. Don't forget to support Home Run PP pale hivi juu kwenye tipja line 0721948229 is the number to drop your support. The very solid conversation we've had since the start where we're talking about economic empowerment. We went down and went and spoke about also we went and spoke about the state of the state of economy in terms of my boy Mbiti. Naona hata sasa amenireply, ameniambia kwamba hiyo hakufanya kitu. We wait for the story, it will come out in its full nature. And then of course Malia ended our conversation today with a conversation of abuse in marriage. It is something that has happened in many marriages. Watu wanaogopa sana kwa sababu wapenzi pia wameanza kuwa ni kama wanataka kumaliza pia. So there is also that. So I see Japonji has joined us. Japonji, habari ya saizi? Leo, I think today we have had, asante sana kwa kutuwekea tipu, umetusukuma sasa tuko na 2 kwa wiki. That is better.
Pipi, you see, I don't know if I'm alone. Pipi, unajua ukiingia kwa hizi spaces siku hizi, we are always, there is a lot of rant, politics, left, right, and center. Unajua kuna kitu inaitwa mental fatigue. So, and I respect you people. I don't know how you people do it in these spaces. Una host, yani, politics, hizo, yani, kuna hiyo mental fatigue inakuja because you feel at some point una repeat. I don't know if it occurs to you people. So, you try to go to take break from politics, bado inakufuata tu. Politics is everywhere. And when I came in, I had nikiongea juu ya abuse in marriage. What I can say is this, yeah, red hand, you know, nilipata kwa space ukiongea mambo tu ya kawaida juu politics inaweza kufanya hata kichwa yako. You can even think you are abnormal, you know, because there are some things unaangalia hii Kenya people, they can make you go crazy. Things that can be solved easily, you know, but they are not getting solved. And the way people reason around them, unashanga ni kama mwalimu unafundisha mtoto 1 to 20 alafu kesho amekuja kwa class sasa amesahau 1 to 20, sasa anataka tena aanze fresh. I don't know, yani hiyo kitu inaweza kufanya so there is that I don't know which training you people what kind of people you go through or how you reset, but it sometimes it drains someone, you know, and I know you've been there people, but wewe umetoka tu vacation juzi. Yeah, back to this abuse in marriage. People, the most difficult thing in abuse in marriage is that the person being abused, wow, unaona, they don't know they are getting abused. Wewe na kelele yako unakuja kwa hiyo relationship, unaambia mtu, oh, you are getting abused. You see, that is it's like you are in a mental hospital, but you don't even know that you are sick, you know. So I don't know how, that's why sometimes even if it was abuse in marriage, natakanga saa zingine I listen to those people who are helping people, you know, counseling, because if we all become experts, but not to make it look bad. Or we talk from experience, which is different from others. Sometimes we end up sometimes missing the point a little bit. Juu mimi, ipi from experience, nishaiona mtu anakuwa abuse. Watu wanapigana nini, alafu you go there in good faith, unawasaidia everything. Then wanaungana wanakuingilia wewe. It's like the famous Gor and FC match. Gor and FC wana fight. Polisi wakikuja wanaungana pamoja wanapiga polisi. You see? So saa zingine ndo unaona when people are getting abused, unaona tu we have this culture. Unapata tu mtu amekaa tu kwa balcony una relax. You don't want to be caught in the middle. I'm not talking in a bad way, but from experience, you end up being there. Unakuwa witness nini. So, but it's good to try anyway, especially if it's family members. And abuse mostly in marriage happens when there is no third party. Mmeoana, mko hapo, you don't have someone to check up on you. Okay, you are adults, of course, you have sound mind, you can do things, but at some point, it's your word against us, you start arguing based on nonsense. And all of you, pride, kuna kitu naitwa ego, sijui ni pride. Hiyo kitu, that thing is very bad in marriage, and that is what causes abuse, and disrespect, Malia ni wewe umesema tu vizuri, I didn't want you to go personal, but Malia si umesema tu vizuri, unaweza saidia mtu kwa marriage nini to bring it ama sio wewe ulisema. Anyway, I have a different opinion.
Unajua nani
Yeah.
Japonji? I have married friends na wanakutaka kuniambia shida zao, but my policy is usually, unajua, even in counseling, mi nimefanya counseling kidogo masomo up to deep, but kuna kitu yenye inasemangwa that huwezi peleka patient further than their awareness, unaona? So you are not there to give the person advice, ni umsikize. As you are listening, you are just a friend, you are listening to them until they come to self-awareness, unaona? Because so long as they never come to self-awareness, you'll not help them, because mtu anafanyanga ile kitu yenye. Have you ever been in a situation whereby you are in a relationship with somebody, after the relationship unajiuliza, what was I even doing there? It's because in the course of the relationship you grew, so you outgrew this person, unaona? But before you get that growth, you cannot be able to see. So even if somebody comes and shows you, you won't see. Ni venye unaweza ambia mtoto mdogo sijui afanye nini ama umweleze kitu yenye it's beyond their scope, they won't get
But
it. So you can only offer them support. That is all what you can do. You can offer them support, and as you're offering them support, slowly they come to themselves. That's what I've noticed
you
myself.
see,
So it's not for you to tell them to leave the situation. It is for them to come to self-awareness, and then, because hata watu wenye they are experts kwa hizi mambo za domestic violence, what do they say? They say it takes a woman who has been abused 7 times, and I live 7 times, and I live ya kwanza anarudi, ya pili anarudi, mpaka 7 times, the 7th time ndio atatoka akiendaga kabisa. So it's a process.
that is very profound. I didn't know that. But what I'm trying to say is this. If someone do not accept that they have a problem, it's difficult to help them. I think that one also plays around the political scene in Kenya. First, you have to accept that there is a problem, or you are the problem. Because Malia, what I was trying to say is, I don't believe in someone coming to bleed in a marriage that where he was not hurt. You don't bleed to the person who did not hurt you. So when you come to that marriage, are you going to for counseling, or you are going for marriage? That is what I'm saying. You see, and I think men, we have a lot of this issue. You think that someone coming with a crying shoulder, and you think now you are the expert in counseling. My friend, this is marriage. If you want to go for counseling, you can help her by taking her to counseling. But hii mambo ya wanaume kujifanya sasa wewe ndio expert wa counseling, unaanza kumcancel, and then before you know it, the shoulder to cry on becomes the something to ride on. So that's what I'm talking about. So we can have all these things, abuse. But at what point do you, even as a man or a woman, decide or realize that no, this is above me? Mimi kazi yangu ni for example, your work is in ICT, hii mambo ya sijui nini. There are some aspect you can help, but you are not. That's why we have experts for this. That's what I'm trying to say here. But mtu akikuja kwa marriage ako na mashida milioni 10, that's a very 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 big red flag. Wewe unaingia kwa hiyo marriage do you have the capacity ya cancel these people? And in the process of canceling them, and you decide, because not everybody that goes to church get healed. Church is a hospital. But not everybody that goes to church gets healed. You can decide to be a counselor for your wife or the other way around. And what happens when they don't heal? Technically, you failed. And actually, you failed because you thought you can do it. But I'm not saying you don't try. That is what I was trying to say, Mali. I don't know if you are clear.
Japonji, you know what I'm saying is this, you know, hata counseling yenyewe, counseling unaenda hapo uko na shida. The counselor is supposed to listen to you. You know, they're supposed to do to help you realize, to help you grow so that you realize for yourself, not to tell you that you're in toxic relationship, you need to come out. There's a reason why you are there. Okay, you are there because self-awareness yako haijafika point ya kutoka. Ona. So the moment when, and I'm telling you this because I talk, married women talk to me. You know, I don't know why married women, they like talking to single women. Maybe their fellow married women or watakaki kusikia
That's a
shida
red
zao.
flag, but go
But
on.
no, by the way, it's not only me. I've talked to my single friends. They tell me married women really love kuenda kuambia mashida zao to single women. You know, and that's of course because we are not married. We don't have any, you know, those relationship problems that you could solve. So we will just listen and not give you any advice. So like me, I most of my friends are married. So I just listen. That's all. I don't even tell them anything. I don't even give them any advice. I just like if it's something like the husband is telling you to quit the job, of course I'll tell you don't try to quit the job, you'll suffer. That's what I can tell you. But if you're coming, you're telling me he beat me yesterday or he's done this or the other one, which I cannot really help you. You know, it's up to you. You get to a point. And I've seen like one of my friends who she even the relationship was so toxic that she was like losing her mind because ilifika point akaanza kuniambia like akifika kwa nyumba anaanza ku have thoughts of like stabbing someone, like she just gets anger and she wants to like stab someone. So I told her, how about you go for therapy, because now this thing is getting out of hand, because hatutaki situation kama ile situation ya watu wanaua watoto or those kinds of things that happen because of the stress that is. But later on, like much later, she came to tell me like the cycles which she went through during her marriage, that kuna time self isolate na bwana mpaka akasahau mama yake, then bwana akaanza kumistreat after self isolate when things were in love bombing stage. Then from there she came back to her, she started having those thoughts of anger, of killing, of what. Then she moved on and she decided to have her life after the guy started stressing her too much, telling her to leave work, ABCD. And now she has come to equilibrium. So that is how life is for everyone, by the way. The person who is married might be having problems in their marriage, but you also have problems. Maybe you're struggling with your weight, you're struggling to do exercise, you're struggling to do your education. So the life is like that. It's about growth and struggling with the elements so that you can overcome. So hata ukikuwa na problem kwa marriage yako, it's you to do the work so that you grow and come to a place where you are in a better place. And that's what I'm telling you. If you look at sometimes hata we Japonje relationships zenye umewaikuwa, sometimes you ask yourself, what was I doing in that relationship? But it's because hapo ndio akili yako ilikuwa imefika, like you are okay with that, then you grew. So when you grew, you outgrew that relationship, ukawacha ukatoka. Unaona? So that is how life is. So before mtu afike hiyo point of growth whereby they see that I can do this, either I can switch off psychologically or I can leave the relationship, it is a process. So you just let someone do their own growing, because you can't grow for someone no matter how much you care about them. Hata kama ni mtoto wako, you can't do the growing for them, they have to grow for themselves.
PP,
Thank
with
you.
your permission, let me ask you a question, Malia. Simple
No,
question.
no, before we go back and forth, Japonji, let's hear Felix and Binadam, and then we can have you, Sindio, because we still have time.
Thanks, yes.
Felix,
Yeah, Mr. Pipi, uko vipi? Uko sawa?
niko salama tu, na wewe je?
Mi niko fiti man, happy anniversary man. Home run with PP. Very soon we are going internationally.
Kabisa, tashukuru.
More power to you, man. Just keep on the grind. Here we are. Leo tuko kwa mimi get in from that part of masumbuko ndani ya ndoa. You can equate it to abuse in marriage, whichever cloth you want to give it. So all I am hearing, provided my ear is not that bad, like that of MC Exodus, is everyone is leaning towards the physical part of that abuse. I want to lean on those. There are two sides to this. There is an emotional part, and then there's the physical part. Then the third part does not necessarily amount to abuse. Maybe from many people's lenses, it will never amount to abuse. And the financial part. So, in my book, remember this book is not written, so it's still in my in my fucking head. There's this level of abuse if we want to go that route: physical, emotional, and financial. Let's take it the emotional one. This is where you are never enough. This is where your best is never enough. This is where no matter what you do, there are no appreciation. This is where what you do will always attract comparison. And by comparison, they are slight but sharp like a dagger. Mhm. And then, more often than not, the emotional part leads to the physical part. Because imagine you are dealing with somebody who already has a picture of you being worthless. Somebody who already has a picture of you being useless. Somebody who already has painted a picture of you not being enough or not being in their level, maybe in terms of education, maybe in terms of financial prowess, maybe even in terms of fashion and design. So one thing that works magic in people's lives is labeling. Once you take a label and paste it on someone, the more you keep on that label, the more it becomes somehow a reality. And eventually it becomes a reality. So before we start saying that, oh, this guy is abusive, oh, this woman is abusive, oh, what, blah, 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 let's interrogate the factors that are leading to whatever we are seeing. Why is this guy acting the way he's acting? Because you and I will always agree that when you people met, the first few months, maybe the first year, that guy or that woman wasn't that person you are telling us now. So how did we reach here? And then I introduce you to something known as the gap. And what is the gap? This is according to my book. The gap is when something has occurred to when it is addressed. So, for instance, nimekuja home kuchelewa leo, haujaniambia yenyewe mzee, huko nje si kuzuri vile, na pia sisi huku ndani huwa tunakuanga worried when you are away. At least maybe if you're going to be late, let us know. kuliko kukaa tu and then unajipata tu kwa nyumba kama Yesu ndiye alisema atakuja kama mwizi. Unasikia that instance, at that moment your voice, your constant. So next time if this guy has to come late, if they are upright people, they will tell you, hey madam, ama hey bro, ama bwana changu, nitakuja kuchelewa juu ya 1 2 3 things. Here is a case where you don't address this shit. It goes on until you are like, hey, fuck it, huyu jamaa amenizoea leo leo lazima tanisikia. And maybe this is the 10th time this guy is doing this, and then now you burst. You're like, umezoea kukujanga hivi kuchelewa, leo lazima utaniambia huo unakaa wapi. You know, at that moment you had made it easy for them to come late. You didn't address it at first, so they never saw it as a problem. And now that you are addressing it as a problem, forgive me, but in their own eyes you will come out as a very nagging human, very disturbing human being. So that is the gap. For those who are married or those who are willing to get into a relationship, take care of that gap, because in that gap watu hupata watu wengine. In that gap people kill each other. In that gap they are divorced. In that gap, bro or sis, a lot of things happen. So abuse in marriage, mi sikatai, iko, but inaletwa na nini? Chanzo cha hii kitu ni nini? Because if we start talking about abuse in marriage, abuse in this, then we are not addressing the main issue. Why is it here with us? Ilianzia wapi? How did we also participate in it? Because somebody cannot just come out of nowhere and then start being abusive. No. It must have been those small pockets of information you are sleeping on, those small heart. Yani unasinywa, unaweka. Unasinywa, unaweka. And inafika to a amount where you cannot weka it anymore. So, is that the case? If that's the case, should we blame this guy or should we blame you for thinking that wrong you could wish it away and it will go away? You can never wish anything away, whether it's good or it's bad. As and when it happens is the time you should address it, so that if it repeats itself, you'd know that it's their choice. It's not something deliberate. Oh, Mr. Pipi, wacha nipige break na hapo kidogo.
Pipita,
Asanti.
allow me to
Wacha tumsikie
allow me to
binadamu
comment
na
on
Noah
what.
alafu turudi kwa Komalia. Sawa?
So,
Haya, binadamu.
Niaje PP, very very nice topic. Malia wanted actually to interject. Wacha tumpatie a chance juu nani ameongea sana, Felix ameongea sana na ameongea points, and let her interject first of all before I come in.
Malia.
thank you, you're very great. I wanted to say this. Me and my policy on this issue of coming home late is this. Si umeenda mastarehe zako, you don't even need to tell me, by the way. Unaweza enda. If you're someone who goes out like this is your life. Like it's not once in a while. You know, that one of I know that you're someone who comes home, but maybe once is when it can be bad, because I know that maybe anakujanga mapema, saa leo hajakuja mapema, maybe something bad, but kama wewe ni ule mtu unapendanga, let's say every Friday you want to be going out, fine, go out. Ukirudi 6 o'clock, you have your key, you open for yourself, you open the door, you come, and if you want to eat something, make for yourself. Juu umetoka kwa starehe yako, na mimi starehe yangu ni kulala. So I didn't interfere with your starehe. Si ulienda starehe yako ukaenda kukula happy huko. So don't also interfere with my starehe. Inakuwaga that simple. That's my policy personally.
Okay. Pipi, can I come in? At least Saina naongea amepatiana nini yake. So thank you actually for the topic. Yeah, any topic yani inakwanga inaongelewa in shadows in most of these platforms. They are not widely talked about. Thanks for bringing it up. So me, I think what I can say, and Felix had asked, what is the genesis of all this abuse in marriage? First of all, you need to understand that it goes both ways. Yeah, it goes both ways. Now, it depends also in the regions, across the world. Like, let's say when you talk about the Western countries, I will say women are very, very, very much empowered. Wamekuwa empowered na nini na government to the point that let me speak on a man's perspective, to the point that government imekuja mpaka ikaingilia marriages. You understand? The government has gone all the way in mpaka kwa mfuko yako, imekuja mpaka imeingia kwa nini, kwa psychology nini ya marriage yenu and everything. So you find that almost half of it, part of the government runs your marriage. Ukiangalia sahi mali kama, let's say America, marriage has become a business, whereas women will just want to go inside marriage, go into marriage to just get a cash cow. Once they get married, once you put that ring on it, nauna kitu kama kitu inaitwa prenup, you are screwed. I've just had an article this morning of an NFL, that is American football player. He's a star. Guys were telling him, don't marry this lady, don't marry this lady. Who you do? And after 2 door. Do you know they just got married a month ago, and the lady now is seeking for divorce? Seeking for divorce after a month. The guy secured a very big check in his contract. Now he's going to split it in half. So if this guy is getting 200 million, the lady goes with 100 million. And the lady has not worked for anything. She just gets it just like that. Alafu sasa ikuwa tu ni shida kama vile like Tyrese Gibson ule ameact Fast and Furious. That guy was frustrated by the ex-wife because of child support. She milked the guy dry. So ukiangalia western cultures, they're quite different, whereby when the women they were fighting for their rights. I mean, as I said, women, like let's say in our country, they usually say, "Oh, niaji, chivalry is dead." Yeah, chivalry is dead because the feminists killed it. Yeah, they're the ones who killed it. Because as far as I'm concerned, men used to be the providers, men used to be everything for the women. But this is not enough. We also want a certain kind of freedom as well. Wakakuja wakapatiwa freedom yao. And now the government also came in to empower the women. And then now the problem is when they were given this helping hand, they decided to take the entire arm. You understand? So that was the issue. Now when it comes to back home, we've tried to do something called like a cultural integration, culture integration into our society. Like let's say unakuja unasema tunataka zile women's rights and all of that. Yes, tumekuja tukapatiwa hizo nini, tumewapa women's right. You need to also understand as well, ukiangalia mali kama in the western countries, when you talk about domestic violence, when someone assaults you, be it a woman, be it a man, and you call and you have evidence that your spouse abused you, that spouse, be it a man or a woman, they will go to jail, ama they will be charged with assault, unaona, because the systems there are working. But when it comes back home here, when there is a domestic violence, kwanza mali kama kwa ploti, hata ukaitata nini Karao hana ile training, ama hata ile training alipata akiwa mali kama nini in the police academy. It was just a theoretical kind of training, na ilikuwa ni by the way kitu kama ya 20-30 minutes na ikasha. They do not practicalize these things until wasikia labda kisu akadedi, ama mtu alipigwa to the point that karibu akufe, unaona. So our police, ukiangalia the government, it's still weak, though we do have the laws, yes, but who is there to implement all these laws? That's why you see there's so many domestic violence cases in Kenya, but nobody is reporting them. Ama zikiwa reported, they just zinapotelea tu mahali tu. Pata labda huu nini wife anapigwa almost on a daily basis, anapigwa, ameng'olewa meno, ameumizwa. This guy still runs scot free, ama anaachiliwa na bond ya 5,000, because we do not have stringent laws against domestic violence. Domestic violence should be treated with very with utmost seriousness, and it should go both ways. Hakuna vile sahi ukiangalia Madam Malia said that ati append story, sijui mwanaume anakuja kama amechelewa, sijui ametoka kuangalia ball na mabeshte zake, anakuja kama amechelewa. Acha tuongeze hapo, mwingine akuja kama amelewa, apatana na wife ni fuse box, amelewa, wife ametokea hivi, wife amemgota, amempiga. This man cannot go and what do you call it, cannot go and report to the police. Ukifika hivi police station unasema ati nimepigwa na bibi yangu, kitu ya kwanza, it is shaming of this man. Unapigwa na mwanamke, kwani wewe ni mwanaume na gani? It becomes a joke, whereas this is something very serious. Now that the problem is they always think that men, us men, we are very like we are initwanga jile ni kama sisi ni kama Marambo, ama sisi ni kama Schwarzenegger, ama sisi ni kama like commando, like we can stand. Mwanamke anaweza kupiga kofi, ama mwanaume anaweza dema anaweza kupiga ngumi, uangalie tu. You see that abuse, it starts like that. Let me just give you a short story. Kuna show inakujanga, I think NTV, or is it KTN, or either NTV, I think NTV. It was My Unspoken. There was a lady, she relocated back to Kenya. She was married in the UK to a Kenyan guy, and they had children. And this lady, because the Western